ìràwọ̀ mi ló ń tàn.
Àsìkò mi ló ẹ̀jẹ̀ mi yọ, ìràwọ̀ mi ló ń tàn.
Àsìkò mi o, àsìkò mi o, bàbá. Àsìkò mi o, àsìkò mi o, ti dé.
Àsìkò mi o, àsìkò mi o, ti dé.
My time, my Lord.
Àsìkò mi o, àsìkò mi o, ti dé.
My time has come.
Àsìkò mi o, àsìkò mi o, ti dé.
This is my season for me to shine. This is my glory. This is my season for me to fly. This is my glory. This is my season. This is my glory. This is my season. This is my glory.
I will shine, this is my season. I will shine,
This is my day, Lord. I will shine. I will shine.
this is my season.
I'm unstoppable.
I will shine, this is my day.
Yes, I love you, Lord. I'm shining, Lord. I'm shining. I'm shining. This is my season for me to rise. This is my glory. This is my season for me to glow. This is my glory. This is my season. This is my glory. This is my season. This is my glory. I will shine. I will shine. I will shine as the sun, as the star, as the moon. Hallelujah. Yes, I'm shining. Hallelujah. Nothing can stop me. Nothing can stop me now. Yes, we are winning now.
My name is
Nothing can stop us now. I will shine. I am rising. I am rising. I am rising.
about your state of origin. Can you tell us precisely where are you from?
Some people don't think I'm from Kogi State.
Exactly.
I'm actually from Ekiti State, the fountain of knowledge. and I'm from Ado Ekiti,
Wow,
precisely.
wow.
And I'm a proud Ekiti man, and a Nigerian for that matter.
Wow, that's great, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Can you recount your spiritual journey in the Lord? How did it all begin?
Awesome question. Actually started my journey in the Lord from Plateau State
Oh, wow.
so many years ago. And I was actually, like most of my message people know, I'm a barrack boy. The barrack boy turned preacher.
Wow.
And interestingly, I lived in 3 Armored Division, Rukuba Barrack, Cantonment Phase 2. And that's where I encountered God. I used to say it, from my grass to grace story, it all started. A woman converted me to Christ. And I was a very stubborn barrack boy. And she was actually ministering to another barrack boy, and then the barrack boy was harassing her, and I was passing, and I said to myself that if this boy touched this elderly woman, and I think she is about around her 70s or so, but her passion for Christ really moved me. And she wasn't preaching to me, but she was preaching through the barrack boy. The barrack boy did not receive the gospel, but I received the gospel. I'm a convert and a product of a woman who is she was passionate about the gospel. She does not even know that she has a convert. And I used to call her my earthly angel that brought me to Christ.
Wow. That's good, sir. I want to ask you, sir, do you have a spiritual father? And if you do, can you tell us who is your spiritual father, sir?
You know, interestingly, a lot of people think that I don't have a spiritual father.
Exactly, sir.
You know, some people have gone and say, oh, all these prophets that just come from nowhere, and by the time you see them, they are just arriving like that, and they are doing great works. One of the most powerful things that God has done for me is my spiritual father is David Yongicho, and the South Korea great man of God. And some people say we don't see any correlation with that, but that's where God gave me direction to. And one of the greatest things that endeared me to this great patriarch of faith is his passion for soul. I'm called to preach salvation, which is the cross. And I love souls. I just love seeing souls trooping into the kingdom. I am not a bastard. We pay our tithe. I pay my tithe tithe to this great father of faith, and I'm so endeared to this great man. And that's where I'm coming from. You know, there are some people with misconception who just believe that we came from nowhere. So I'm doing a lot of brief summary of some of this, but thank God, I want to say this is a man with a godly heart and a father I will live to admire all the days of my life. I did not connect to him by flesh alone, but by the Spirit. And that is it. And I'm having awesome time. Just passion for souls. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Interestingly, a lot of people are wowed about your intelligence and wisdom. Can you shed more light on your educational background, sir?
You know, sometimes some people think we are half baked because of the way we do things. I like speaking Wari language, Barak language, and sometimes it's great. I actually did my primary school by the special grace of God in Plateau State, in Rukuba Barak. It's Army Day Primary School. I'm a product of Army School, and then I did my junior secondary school in Command Secondary School, which was actually Army School too. And then I moved forward to my SS1 and the rest to finish from government secondary school, Mayango, the same in Plateau State.
Oh, wow.
And of course, I did banking and finance in the Polytechnic of Ibadan.
Wow.
And at the same time, acquired a BSc in political science.
Oh, wow.
And I just finished my master's in international relations.
Wow.
And I majored in diplomacy. And by the special grace of God, at the same time again, I have a PhD in divinity.
Oh, wow. That's great, sir.
Thank you.
That's great, sir. Congrats, sir. It's a new year to you. And of a truth, it's been all-round growth in all ramifications, both physically, spiritually, ministry-wise. How do you feel about this, sir?
One of the things that this moment of life has brought to me, it's seeing the Lord adding a new year to my life.
Wow, yes.
I cannot say I'm old and I cannot say I'm too young. At least when you cross between the 40 border to the other 50 border and you are adding one to the dot, you know that the Lord is faithful to what God has been doing to me. And to me, it's all about seeing myself walking stronger in the presence of God. And every new leap, a new year that the Lord give me an ability to attain. I feel excited when I see souls that God has used me to bring for the kingdom, who are walking stronger and catching fire for the Lord.
Yeah. Sir, of a truth, to every glory, there's always a story to tell. The last few years it has not been rosy. It has been storms here and there.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, you've been able to weather the storm and overcome that without stress and without sweat. How did you achieve this, sir?
The last few years has been storms, exactly. And to me, I see them as blessing. Some people see them as storm, but to me, I see them as blessing. And sometimes people ask me, don't you feel pain? Don't you feel these are able to break you down and the rest? To me, I see it as a process of becoming a solid believer in the Lord.
Yes.
And the Lord has used this to teach me a lot. And it has further enhanced my passion for God. And every storm, which I call them blessing, has actually brought me to a new level, a new realm. Like they say, new level, new devil. But one of the great things is that we're just going higher and we're getting bigger.
Oh, wow. That's great, sir. At some point during this crisis, some things were said about you that if it were other men of God who are not strong in the Lord, it will have drowned them. Can you tell us some of the steps you took in coming out of this gloriously?
You know, my background in the Lord has been very challenging and tasking, because first of all, when I gave my life to Christ, one of the things that I went through was my father was of blessed memory. I'm not an orphan now, but I'm an offer to the Lord.
That's good.
My mother just passed, went to glory. She went to glory about 1 month and 5 days ago now. My father went to glory about 4 years now. But one of the things that my foundation has triggered and taken my skin when it comes to trials and storms and how I survived it. A lot of people said so many nasty things about me, wrote so many. Some people that don't even know me, don't even have a personal relationship with me, who don't even understand my story from grass to grace. And I can't blame them because, the situation of our country now is so tormenting that when somebody even have a success or breakthrough, so many things can happen. A lot of people can even say things they are not supposed to say, which is normal. But one of the most important things is that when God is behind you, and God is pleased with you, every other thing is inconsequential. Every other talks and side talks should not move you. My joy was that I've touched the heart of God by obeying God to carry out steps to correct errors around my life. And I did them, and I have peace today. And came out strong. In fact, God is using me to help a lot of people, a lot of pastors, ministers, politicians, leaders, scholars, people who feel like committing suicide in trials of life. God has used me to help them, to redeem them by virtue of the wealth of experience I've gotten through the trials of life.
Wow, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Amidst all, I'm sure you must have hold on to some lessons or learned some lessons during these trials and storms. Do you mind sharing them with us, sir?
There are 4 things I've seen. That human beings are human beings.
Yes.
And that anybody can disappoint you at any time.
Yes.
And that you don't put your trust in a man. And number 2, that the enemy of a man of God is a man of God. The enemy of a doctor is a doctor. The enemy of a soldier is a soldier. That your enemies are not too far. They are from your kindred. Another lesson I've learned is that don't allow fear in life to ever consume you. Face your Goliath, face the devil, deal with your storm, and come out. And always know this. You are not accountable to men alone. You are accountable to God. And that's the person you should fear. That every other opinion is infinitesimal to the opinion of God. That the opinion of God override every other opinion. That people, men are men. People are entitled to their opinion. You don't have any reason to stop somebody to think the way they want to think. Their thoughts could be paralytic, epileptic. Their thoughts could be exciting. They could have a positive thought towards you. But it doesn't matter. The most important thing, you must first be a believer of yourself and to God. If you don't believe in your project, nobody will believe in you.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, interestingly, sir, you got married to a wonderful woman of God who is equally active in the ministry. And I'm surprised you share the same month too, sir. How do you feel about this? And will it be right to say that this is divinely orchestrated by God?
The scripture says that all things work together for good to them that are called according to the purpose of God. For my wife, Prophetess Stella, and the only wife I have, she is a divine blessing and a compensation to my wounds and pain. As you can see me, I'm walking stronger. That is not to say that I encourage anybody to go into divorce. I preach against it. I kick against it. And I don't even pray that somebody or anybody who is close to me should go through that. But albeit, this is my journey. This is how God has pushed my journey. And like I used to say, the only reason why Jesus said you should be in divorce, except for the purpose of adultery, promiscuity, and etc. And I've always said this, my purpose of coming out to make confession 2019, it is not to be hard on my ex. It is to confront the hills around my life and to make bold. During that period, a lot of people said, you are not supposed to be on the altar. You are not supposed to do this. You are not supposed to preach. And I said, well, I don't blame some of you. And some of the people who really took lash on me were men of God. And I said, I came out to talk. Nobody forced me to confess. Like I said in the confession, lash me if you want to lash me. And my confession was strictly based on doing what is right. He that covereth his sin shall not prosper. And I had settled with God 7 years before that time.
Wow.
So when I came out to make my confession, I came out because 5 years before that time. I came out to make my confession. It was not to take a lash on my ex. It was to free myself from what was almost taking my life. 2 times I collapsed. 2 times I almost gave up. That's not to say that my ex is evil. No. My own is that I'm correcting the ills and I move on. My kids and my children are lovely. But for Prophet Stella, she is a gift any man in life will ever cherish for life. For me, the Lord has been wonderful.
Wow, that's good, sir. Will it be right to say that it was because of Prophet Stella you moved to South Africa to set up City of Wonders, sir?
No. It was a divine mandate. Prior to this time, before this, God has spoken to me on the work He has called me to come and do in South Africa. Had been a regular visitor to the nation of South Africa for about 14 years now. And there was a major Macedonia call for that nation. So not just ours, it's about divine mandate. And we are happy with what God is doing in the nation of South Africa.
Yeah. Recently, you've been connecting great men of God, generals in the prophetic field. You've been connecting them together, bringing them under the same umbrella, which is something that is rare in the household of God. Is this divine instruction or what inspired this?
Yes, it's divine instruction. One of the generation that is very political in nature is we men of God. I don't think politicians are more experienced like we men of God. We are highly political. There is bad blood. There's bitterness. There's a lot of deception. There is a lot of, in quotes, holier than thou attitude. God nominated us, but we denominated ourselves. And the division is one of the reasons why the body of Christ is not as powerful as she ought to be. And so when God began to speak to me, He said, you can't grow in isolation. There's a need for you. Iron sharpeneth iron to connect to others. It's a difficult task to carry out, especially among prophets and people in power ministry. There is this big-headedness and this egocentric mentality that I'm bigger than you, I'm better than you, I'm more anointed than you, I think I have more grace than you. And it's a mandate God gave to me. And I like minds are connecting to like minds. There are some who feel that they are too big and it's nothing to me. But one of the most important things is that is a vision that God showed me, that one of you shall chase 1,000, but 2 of you shall chase 10,000. And it is very, very important. Let me just address a point. Like, you find out that the reason why most men of God are dying prematurely is because we are not helping one another. During my storm and crisis, I discovered that part of the reasons why most pastors' wives, let me just speak proverbially, why most pastors' wives have failed marriage. Sometimes it might not just be the disagreement or misunderstanding between husband and wife. It is as a result of the dimensions of bitterness that happen among men of God. Like that spirit of sin, let us pull him down. So it is part of the reason why most men of God cannot connect themselves to each other. Some pastors' wives have been pushed by other pastors to destroy their husband. Because everybody believes that the more you have bad news as a man of God, the more your ministry stands to lose its weight and grace. So there is no set of generation that are highly diplomatic, highly political, highly, I'm sorry to say, highly deceptive, highly manipulative, like some men of God. And that's why we are in a generation where we need to understand that connecting to help one another. There are things I can do as a man of God that other men of God cannot do. There are things that other men of God can do that I cannot do. We need each other in the body of Christ. So sometimes some of these battles we go through as men of God is as a result of empty pride. I think my church is bigger than your church. I think you are a minor prophet, I'm a major prophet, or you are a major prophet, I'm a minor prophet. I have a big church, you have a small church, you have a small church, I have a big church, I am more anointed. All this empty ego that will not take us to heaven. Thank you.
Yeah, you said something earlier that iron sharpeneth iron.
Thank you.
But sadly in Christendom, the opposite is the order of the day. What I mean is that men of God envy one another and gossip about one another.
Yeah.
As a prophet, what is your advice to these men of God?
True. A lot of men of God gossip one another. When you talk about envy, it's one of the things that is killing the grace of God in this end time. The Bible says, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. I have never seen a generation that envy one another like pastors. I'm sorry. I'm not taking a sweep on we men of God. I'm including myself. The generation that envy one another is either people in the word-based ministry against the prophets. It's either those in the prophetic ministry are against the word-based ministry. It's either some people are trying to say we are genuine, they are not genuine. There are people who just believe that if you prophesy, you are not genuine. Because they believe that they can't do what some of us in power ministry are doing. In fact, in my early days of growing up in the faith, I had sometimes some men of God take a sweep on me and call me all sort of name. And so that when I see this men of God who take a sweep on me and call me all sort of name, I ask myself, these are people who preach holiness. These are people who talk about heaven. And I don't understand how you talk about heaven and you demonize somebody in order to appreciate your spiritual relevance. You see, people would envy, would jealous, or try to demonize another man of God. It is a symbol of their smallish mentality, or myopic, or microscopic, or pinjomic mentality. Because when somebody begin to run down another prophet of God or man of God, just because you are not in the office of the man of God, is because you don't understand that we know in part, we prophesy in part. We know in part, we prophesy in part. So you must understand the dimension in which God has called you to come. For example, I have a program right now. I invited so many psalmists. It's just about praise of what God has done for me. The Lord has been so awesome to me. And there are some of the psalmists I invited. There's one of the psalmists, I'm just talking. One of the psalmists I invited that, this person, she was so bold, she was excited to come. But because another man of God felt that she's not supposed to come to this, the man of God called her and pulled a call and said, look, if you come with disown, we do this, we do that, we do that, we do that. And sometimes I ask myself, these are people who preach holiness. These are people who talk about righteousness. You can be crying and your tears is a fake tears. You can make an altar call, and the altar call you make for salvation is just an empty spiritual pride. Just to show people that you love souls, but you don't love souls. Because I used to tell somebody, if you feel that an altar is not godly, why don't you bring your Christ to that altar and cast the ungodliness from the altar? Yes. For the young generation who are coming up, being Christian comedian, Christian psalmists, gospel artists, don't allow any spiritual father to manipulate you against another spiritual father. Don't get involved in their political or religious politics. Yeah. If a man of God is bitter with a man of God, leave him to be bitter. Don't get yourself involved. There is no way I can allow myself to I love what Pastor Chris does. I have Eben coming from the Chris place. I have Moses Bliss that came from Pastor Chris. These children are raised by Pastor Chris, but they are everywhere taking the gospel. Once you are gifted as a child of God and your pastor begin to manipulate you not to go to other places to bless them, then there's something wrong with him. Yes. It is called the slave man mentality, the colonial mentality, where they feel threatened that you are going to other grace. Wow. You are not going for God's sake. You are not going to a witch doctor, to a native doctor. You are going to the house of God to minister the gospel. And somebody is manipulating. And this is all the bad bloods. Jealousy, bitterness, the dimension where people are hot because they feel that they own God. Excuse me, God does not come from your village. God does not come from your village. God is not the property of any man of God. God does not come from your village. It's not the property of any man of God. So no matter how you do it, you cannot pocket God. I'm so happy that God does not come from Ekiti State. If God comes from the village of some people, I don't think some of us will be qualified to be here. I'm so excited that sometimes when I see some people who judge other men of God, they just talk. They say, why do you near this man of God? Don't near this man of God. Don't near. There are some people practicing what I call cultism in the body of Christ. We have a situation whereby you find out that there are some people who call themselves the word-based people, and then they form a clique, and they say, nobody, you don't need to come through our clique because we feel that we are deputy gods. And so other people must not come in. This is the reason why the body of Christ have not been able to take a stand in Nigeria to be able to make a sentence that every other people from the other side will fear us. They know we are divided. And we do a lot of hypocrisy. We can lie down on our altar, pray and cry and worship and do all sort of trumpeting and keyboarding and wear white clothes, and yet our hearts are not white. Wow. Thank you.
Wow, that's powerful, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. Arguably, one of the things that stands you out in the prophetic is your word-based prophetic ministry. Yeah. What's your take on this?
I've discovered that there are too much prophetic rascality, some unethical behavior, abuse of the altar, abuse of the office of the prophet, abuse of the giftings of power. And God made me to understand, if you want to last in this end time, you must be a prophet with the word. So I took time to have a sweep on the word. I do night vigil in studying the word. Study to show yourself approved as a workman that needed not to be ashamed, but rightly dividing the word of truth. David said, thy word is the light to my path. Trust in the Lord, and in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. So I understand that this word that I speak to you, they are spirit and life. And then when I study the word, I don't study the word to preach, I study the word to grow. So, and that is why I've been able to, God has used me as a prophetic prototype to show to people that you can be a prophet with the word, with a big church, with relevance, with stamina, with ruggedity, and at the same time simplicity.
Wow. Amidst your tight schedule, because it's obviously, sir, you have a tight schedule. So what do you do in your leisure time?
Wow. There are two things I do.
Yes, sir.
I love reading books a lot. And I love sport. especially table tennis as a lefter.
Wow, wow.
I love that, reading books and table tennis, and I love gisting with my son.
So,
He's a sort of a talkative, and we talk a lot.
sir, a lot of people believe that men of God are not romantic.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, sir. You are active, likewise, Prophetess Stella.
Yeah.
So how do you have time for the romantic, for romantic moments?
So
and
you
how
want to
do
go
you
into
spend
my
it?
privacy?
Exactly,
You, this
sir.
journalist, you are something
Do you go
else.
for picnics around vacations?
Of course. With Prophetess Stella, it has been heaven on earth.
Wow, wow.
She's such a wonderful woman.
Wow.
Some people think it's beauty. No. I've never seen it, a woman such humble.
Wow.
She's a South African, not a Yoruba, but she greets me in the Yoruba way.
Wow, wow.
She is a lovely woman. So I go to answer your question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I go on picnic, I go on relaxation, we do sport with my wife, we pray together, we do a lot of things that has to do with leisure time, fun time. She can be very funny. She can be funny. She can do some things that will make you laugh and laugh and laugh and crack jokes, and sometimes speak the Nigeria broken
Wow.
English. And some of the broken English she speak, and sometimes are the ones my mother of blessed memory taught her.
Yeah.
And sometimes when she starts speaking it, I will laugh and laugh and just say, this woman, don't teach my son this language. And some of those things. So glorious moment.
We are currently experiencing what we call global disaster.
Yeah.
And with the present situation in the world, will it be right to say that the church is not performing its role? And what is the role of the church in all this?
True, we are experiencing global disaster, and this global disaster we are experiencing are orchestrated by powers of darkness, rulers of this world who want to bring the earth to a standstill.
Yes.
And that's why we, the elect of the Lord, have to be sensitive. Sometimes I get disturbed by the level of insensitivity of the church. Sometimes we want to spiritualize everything, and sometimes we give our members wrong information that brings about deformation. I am unapologetic about the statement I'm about to say. COVID-19 is real.
Yes.
I have a big church I've attended to members who have COVID. I pray for them. And some of them took medical treatment and they came out of it. This is my opinion that religious leaders should be very careful of certain statements they make that can further jeopardize the lives of their members. Take heed to the flocks that God has given to you. We are entitled to our opinion, and this is my opinion, that medical science should not be de-emphasized. Let's be realistic with ourselves. A man of God is talking against medical science, but he is taking a treatment for diabetes. A man of God is talking against medical science. He's checking his blood pressure. A man of God is talking against medical science. He's flying overseas to treat himself over a sickness is not that. Let us stop playing this Superman mentality. This is one of the reasons why most men of God die. Because they're trying to create an impression that is not real. They're trying to create. Why lead your members and say, oh, don't take COVID this, don't do this. You are entitled. Some of them, allow them to take their decision. Don't force your decision on them. Then you say, don't take the COVID vaccine. Then you go behind and take the vaccine and you don't tell them that you have taken the vaccine. You are worse than a devil. No apology for that. You are worse than a devil. Tell them they are entitled to their opinion. Keep your opinion to yourself. Don't force your opinion on them. Don't force your opinion on them. That's my take. And I can't apologize for that. Because I understand and I've seen what the medical science have done. Luke was a medical doctor, and Jesus had him in his team. For what reason? Not for entertainment, for a purpose and an assignment. And this is one of the reasons. Let's praise our gallant nurses and doctors who fought gallantly during the COVID-19 to save a lot of lives. We don't take a sweep on people and being ungrateful. Elijah was very anointed and died of his sickness. There's so many men of God living with high blood pressure, living with sickness, living with so many things, and they are pretending about it. Stop being a Superman. Yes, I believe in divine healing. I pray for people that are sick, but I'm not against the medical science. Let us be very, very careful. Let's behave as enlightened people and not illiterates. Let's help people. Let's give them the right information. The reason why sometimes the government go against the church sometimes, I'm not holding brief for any government. But I'm saying that the reason why sometimes the government go against the church is the way most clergymen behave. We should speak truth to power. But at the same time, we should not manipulate the flocks that God has given us. One of the greatest people with great force that are more powerful than politicians are religious leaders. Be it an Islamic cleric or a Christian cleric, we are so powerful. We form an opinion base that can live with the people forever.
Oh, thank you so much for that, sir. When Jesus was ascending, he gave us the mandate to preach the gospel to the whole world. Sadly, evangelism has lost its value in Christendom. How can this be revived?
A lot of believers in this end time are thinking about wealth acquisition, prosperity, money. We're egocentric. We have become, the church has become the world, and the world is becoming the church. There is a lot of misnomer that is happening just because the church has lost our place. One of the most powerful mandates God has given to us, it's not about building big church. I'm not talking because I don't have a big church. It's about taking the gospel to the world, especially rural evangelism. I started my ministry from PIT, which is called PET, Pets Prevailing Evangelical Team. We were taking the gospel to villages. You'll be so surprised there are villages where people have not heard the gospel. It has to be passion. Knowing that we have to redeem the time, for the days are evil. Redeeming the time for the coming of the master. That Jesus is coming back and the church must be ready. The problem is that we are not ready preparing for the master. We are condemning one another. I have never seen a generation that will attack its own and protect a herbalist and a witch doctor. We don't even preach against the evils. We preach against one another. And that is one of the reasons why the church is getting weaker. It's getting weaker. Today there is an Islamic bank. Where is the Christian bank? Because we cannot pull our resources together. We don't understand how to pull. If we are not talking about doctrine, we are talking about principles. We are talking about holier than thou attitude. We are talking about bringing down a man of God, demonizing that person, trying to portray ourselves. No matter how you portray yourself to demonize another man, everybody can attend your church. You cannot take a sweep on everybody.
Exactly. Oh, thank you, sir. Before now, each time you celebrate your birthday, it's been massive gifts. At a point, you even became a force to be reckoned with when it comes to helping the needy and the rest. But you've toned it down of recent. What informed that, sir?
Let me put it this way. I have not toned it down, but I've changed my system and dimension. You know, I started by giving radically.
Yes.
I gave 25 cars, 32 cars. I gave houses out to widows. I went to Botswana, here, etc. Land properties South everywhere. I've emptied my garage. I've lost counts of cars. And when I'm talking about cars, hundreds of cars that I've given out. as blessings to people, paid house rent, and people say I was trying to advertise myself. At a particular time, there was a generation of they were giving out scriptures and saying that do not let your left hand know what your right hand gives. And I say to them that sometimes this is the problem of the church and the problem of the world. If pastors don't give openly, you claim that we don't give. When we give openly, you say we are advertising ourselves. And for your information, Jesus gave openly. Yes. And he fed 5,000 men openly, not secretly. There are times that God will lead the church to give openly. And funny enough, I've seen most men of God who preach against me the time I gave openly, giving openly now. Thinking, giving out, advertising it. And I say, thank God they are getting to understand that the next movement of God is not going to be by power, miracle, and prophecy. The move of God in this end time is not going to be by the amount of miracles you perform, by the amount of prophetic gymnastics you do, or the amount of word you preach, either from Greek or Hebrew Bible, or the rhema you bring out. There is a generation that is coming now that wants a pastor with love and passion. One of the greatest things that is going to move and sweep the next generation of unbelievers to come to God is welfareism. By the time we begin to give and give and give, we are going to convert more souls than raising dead back to life. I have seen people respond to the gospel because of love. Not by virtue of advertising. I'm a superman, I have the anointing, I can give, I can pray for the sick. That's why I've discovered that somebody can be a miracle worker, a prophet, prophesy. It is difficult to give. That's why you find out that you see some general overseer having 30 cars and all the pastors are trekking.
That's true.
Some general overseer having houses everywhere. Nobody have a land. And the guy is preaching holiness. And the guy is telling everybody that I'm holy, I'm righteous, I'm more anointed than everybody. He's demonizing everybody. And yet, pastors under you are giving car. You lock them up, collect the car. Will you take all these cars to heaven?
At all.
So there are generations. Look, let me tell you something. I'm not holding brief for prophets.
Yes, sir.
But I can tell you that what most prophets are doing in this generation, some people who claim that they are holy people from the other side, who say they are anti-prophetic ministry, might not be able to do even 10% of it. If you check the people taking the gospel, helping people, changing life, you will see them, they're in power ministry. But one of the greatest problems of people in the prophetic and power ministry is that we don't know how to defend ourselves. We allow some people to demonize us, lambast us, and encapsulate us and box us to a junction where they begin to think that they own God and that whatever they say is right. And that's why I am a stubborn, radical prophet. I am a stubborn, radical prophet. God is not the respecter of any man. And I believe it. You give me fire, I give you fire. You give me water, I give you water. I'm sorry if I'm using that language for our audience, but I just want to understand. I want us to understand that you cannot survive Christianity in this end time by being gentle. If you are gentle, you cannot be settled. And when I'm talking about being gentle, being stupid. Thank you.
Yeah, looking at the current state of things in this country, Nigeria, there have been strong calls for breakup.
Yeah.
Do you see Nigeria breaking up soon, as a prophet, sir?
You have asked a very sensitive question. I don't foresee Nigeria breaking up. This nation is a very prophetic nation.
Yes.
And God so much loved Nigeria. But albeit there are some clause to it. With the way things are going, the way people are feeling ill-treated, the injustice that is going on. For example, I'm not holding brief for the Igbo race, the Southeast. You can't be in a marriage and not be relevant. What is wrong in we having an Igbo president? Why will you say we are one Nigeria and yet appointments are not given to these people and they are ill-treated? Why will some people from a quarter lay hold to power and feel it's their right to lay hold to power? Why will certain appointment, almost 90% of the appointment, come from a quarter? And we say we are practicing true federalism. You cannot be perpetuating injustice and call it justice. One of the reasons why our faith in this project called Nigeria is shaking is because the piloters of the affair of this nation don't understand that you cannot blow a baby and beat a baby and expect the baby not to cry. I am worried as a prophet that if there is no restructuring, no adjustment in our leaders' mentality, Nigeria is a time bomb that is about to explode. The agitations are symptoms, either from the Oduduwa nation, the IPOB, the Arewas. It is a time bomb. And there is no power of gun and bullet that can fight an ideology when we don't sit down at the table to dialogue. During President Goodluck regime, there was a clamor for restructure. And that committee actually brought out a document that I felt it was important for the current regime to look into. The reason why we are where we are not speaking truth to each other. Deception is deception. You cannot call black white and expect people to appreciate it. A generation is coming that does not understand the terms and the rules of engagement, and they might not be patient enough for such a time like this. If Nigeria must stay together, our current leaders must treat the symptoms with seriousness and treat the cause of the symptom with seriousness, especially the cause of the symptom. If not, we are sitting on a time bomb.
But in 2021, insecurity has been the major issue we are battling with, and it seems the government is clueless. As a prophet, what do you think is the solution?
I have gotten opportunity to speak and sit around table with most presidents of nations, and I can tell you it is not easy to pilot the affair of a nation. There is no president who want to fail at all. Most often, people in the affair of power fail because of the people that surround them. It's either wrong counselors or people with the counsel of Ahithophel, and people that are trying to profiteer from what is happening. Sometimes it's as a result of lack of willpower to confront the monster. For me, in security, with the current state of Nigeria, the present regime is not doing well at all. There is insecurity, there is fear. Parents are afraid to take their children to school. A lot of people are flying the children out of the country because look at what happened in Kaduna. Look at the kidnapping, the banditry, the terrorism. Never in the history of this nation have we have this level of pressure from every angle. But I believe in this project Nigeria, that Nigeria will rise again. But let's give our leader that positive belief that nobody wants to fail as a leader, that God will help them. My heart goes for the security operative, the DSS, the military, the Navy, Air Force, police, who are fighting and trying their best to safeguard lives. I know it's not easy to be a security personnel in this time. Let's just keep praying. We know this project Nigeria will stand again.
Wow. Yeah, thank you, sir. You are a barrier breaker and a line crosser, sir. Officially, you'll be launching or unveiling or dedicating the 80,000 City of Wonders this week, sir. First, I'm sure it will have got several billions. So can you give us a rough sketch of the billions you spent? Then secondly, it's interesting to know that you set up this place, especially at a period where there's scarcity of cash flow. So what has kept you going in the midst of it all?
One of the things that God has done for me, I don't make noise, I make impact. And that's why sometimes some people look at me and say, where is it coming from? There's something about it. Maybe he's using something. Maybe there are so many people who have syndicated so many funny things in the internet because of my speed. Truly, I'm a barrier breaker. Now, if somebody has not come to this church, will not know how big this auditorium and this cathedral is.
That's true.
In fact, when we're talking with the engineers and the architect, this church is above 100,000 capacity. But for the purpose of having comfort, you see, we have the first dome here, the second dome there, the third dome there, and then every gallery has big hall, and the halls are very big from every angle. The toilets, restroom facilities are unique. We have provision for escalators and lift. This church is a mind-blowing one. Just this office space, we have almost 40 office room space to receive all manner of people from every part of the world. And the acres of lands that we have all unattended to are so numerous. And I cannot just talking about the amount of money I have spent. I don't want to put myself in trouble. Billions and billions. I mean, it's not a child's play. Not a child's play at all. Just in the past 3 months, just to prepare for this dedication, over 400 and something million has just gone for preparation of this. So one of the things, some pastors look at me and they say, maybe he's doing something. Maybe there's a ritual money that no. The Lord is just being faithful to us.
That brings me to this question, sir. City of Wonder is a record-breaking auditorium. What actually inspired the setting of City of Wonders?
1992, God gave me a vision about this auditorium. 96, it became more clearer. 2007, God brought more greater portion of this vision to me. And then, when we were growing from the old side is still there and it's so big. We had overflow that we could not contain the crowd. We had overflow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then we had members parking their cars all over in people's house compound and everywhere. In fact, the neighborhood were boxing the tires of members, getting angry. In fact, I started buying over the properties of people. In fact, they started praying against me that I'm buying all their property. In fact, there was a day I was driving and somebody said, your God, that thing that you are using to buy property, I will not sell my property to you. I'm seeing you in the dream. You are telling me that I will sell the property. He eventually sold his property to me anyway. So it became so very big and massive. One day I was just lying down and meditating, and the Lord said, now it's time for you to build me the auditorium I showed you 1992, 1996, and 2007, and I will bring the provision. So it was not because we wanted to show people that we have ability to build a big church. It was not an act of competition at all. It was an act of necessity and provision and a divine money. When it becomes competitive, the provision will not be there. When it become you want to show or score a point. For me, that's why I said we are not here to tell people we have the biggest church or the smaller church. We just needed to have a space to accommodate the crowd, and God made the provision. There was no dime that was borrowed from a bank at all. We built this place in 13 months from foundation, working night and day. We should have dedicated, we should have done the dedication of this place. But what happened was that as a result of the blessing that happened 2019, and then so many things, I had to take my time. This is just the set time to do the dedication, not because we are under pressure to finish the cathedral, but this is the set time. So no competition. That's why I say, whosoever look at it as competition, where it was never a competition, because as a result of this building, so many people have to increase their number, but it's normal.
Sir, interestingly, when I got here today, sir, I felt like I was in paradise. And you said something earlier that you never borrowed a dime.
Yeah.
Now, on record now, sir.
Yeah.
Are you sure you did not borrow a dime? And then, where did the fund come from?
I could remember when we were building, some of the bank manager came and said, can we borrow you? I said, on what now? You know what I'm worth. What are you borrowing me for? What do you need to give to me? I'm not looking for money. The Lord has helped us. That's why some people think, is he pushing something? Where is he getting the money? The truth is that so many religious leaders are very deceptive and untrue with helping the younger generation. You cannot make the money of the gospel from offering and tithe.
Yes.
Somebody like me, I give 90% of what God has put into my hands to enhance the church. I don't need the offering and tithe of the church. What can he do for me? No. I make my boast in the Lord with due respect and humility. By the grace of God, I'm what I am today. I have seen that you need to deploy your level of intelligence and wisdom to make money. You don't pray down money, you brain down money. So if you don't understand and study how to make money, you'll be poor throughout lifetime. I run a big modern agriculture firm.
Wow.
I am into real estate.
Wow.
A big time way, in a big time way. I do a lot of business into transportation, into cars selling. I also run a trading house. So, etc. And I'm not ashamed to say that. And I'm so happy. I'm into forex trade, cryptocurrency, everything you think. Name them, I am into them. And I'm doing them well, and I'm not ashamed. And I'm also bouncing into oil now.
Wow.
So I'm not ashamed. And of course, I have partners who God has raised for me. Either be it a number one citizen of a country. And interestingly, some of the people that God have used to help me are from the other religion. Wow. I have friends from the Arab world who are so blessed, who know how to give. I'm sorry to say this to most Christians. Sometimes I'm a lover of Muslims very well. They are good. They give to the gospel. They don't look back. When they want to give, they give. I treat them with respect. And I'm not anti-Islam. I know some people now will get angry. What is he trying to say? What I'm saying is that the gospel can be financed by anybody. You will eat the riches of the Gentiles. Scriptural. So,
Wow, that's good, sir. Like I said earlier, sir, that to every glory, there's always a story to tell. During construction, what are some of the challenges you faced, and how were you able to overcome those challenges?
you know, when we brought some Indians and other construction company, we engaged them in the building of this place. Some of the engineers were sharing with me their experience of how they build some other big ministries where people fall down while constructing and they die.
Wow.
They died, and some told me about 8 people dying in one of a big ministry in this country. I took time to pray. I went all around to pray and said there would be no loss of any life here. You know, when it happened to people who call themselves the word base in quote, it is normal. But when it happened to a prophet, they say we have done something, we have done ritual. You know how they demonize us because of what we carry. So I prayed. It was tasking, it was challenging. There was one of the time we were to have a program, and the other dome there, the crane was there for about 10 days holding the things together. And 3 days to the program. 3 days to the program. 3 days to the program. They have fixed the thing. And one of my sons came to the church and said, in one of the trusses that was in the left beam, he saw a man standing on the trusses. We have not roofed it.
Yes.
And this person looked like an angelic being. At first, he thought it was one of the roofer. He started screaming and saying, "You, what are you doing there? This is not the time you are supposed to be there." All of a sudden, that being disappeared. 1 hour later, the next day, just 1 day to the time, that crane, that truss fell down.
Wow.
It would have been on a human being. But the God of heaven, who I serve, who is a covenant keeping God, allowed that to happen. It was a mistake by the roofers, the engineers. And immediately they saw, they say A, B, C, D was what we didn't do well. And immediately we changed that. And God saved it, saved us. We never had any problem apart from that challenge. It's a sweet experience.
Wow, thank God for that, sir. Many people believe that one of the greatest problems Jesus had in his time was being betrayed by his disciples. How does it feel being betrayed by sons and daughters you raised, and what are the lessons you learned through them all?
The pains of betrayal. It's not easy as a spiritual father to be betrayed by sons you raised up. You labored and travailed for them spiritually. To see people you raised up speaking ill of you, even when they know in their heart that what they are saying is not true. They lie against you. Some spiritual fathers have died in pain because of love that they have for either their spiritual sons or daughter. For me, some of my sons who betrayed me never betrayed me because they don't love me. They could not stand my pain of trial. They felt that I was going to be consumed and crushed down by the storm, because some of them, I was very practical and real. I told most of them what I was going through before I finally came out to make the confession. So some of them saw that there was an implosion that is about to be an explosion. So they even took my story, my tears, my pain, and sold me out to journalists. It was painful. But the joy that I have is that I love them. And I know that a child is a child.
Yes.
And sometimes, if you have not been through the pathway of a father, you will never know. It is the person that wears the shoe that knows how the shoe pains. Somebody does say, hey, I think he's lying. I think he's lying. You know what it means to stand before your church with tens of thousands of people on a live service and make an open confession, indicting yourself or saying things about yourself? Do you think that it is easy to do? Do you think it's deceptive? Which man of God will come out?
Yes.
I know of men of God who have children in Akwa Ibom, have children in Italy, have children in Spain, have children everywhere. Who, if today they are called to glory, so many children will come out and they are big shots. Who were just taking a lash at me, being pretentious. I've never seen a generation as hypocritical as some men of God.
Yeah.
Do you know that if God is to open the life of men of God and show it on screen, some men of God will find where to hide. The ones who claim they are holiness preacher. Do you know, just because you are a perfect thief and you know how to hide, we are going to see your life on the last day now. We are going, is it not this heaven all of us will go? We will see you, you are the one preaching holiness. I don't understand how somebody have 3 children outside wedlock with different person. He's taking a sweep on a man of God who has a genuine cause. My ex, thank God for her. I'm not talking ill about her. A lot of so-called men of God who are big-time men of God took advantage of her to manipulate her because they wanted to get at me, because they were jealous of me. Yes, she did her own thing. Yes, I did my own thing. Don't want to be hard. I was concerned about me coming out to correct my ills. I wrote a book on correcting the errors of life. It's one of the books that have answered this. I might not be able to talk more. But I'm worried about so many so-called men of God, in quotes, who have wives, who have children that they cannot stand for, who cannot take responsibility of the children. I am not advocating for polygamy, for divorce. I'm against it. Interestingly, it might interest you to know that I've saved so many pastors' wives from so many hirelings who want to destroy their husband, who are also men of God. I've told them so many marriages have been saved by me. Who say, hey, what is this saying? What is this saying? That and that. This is this. You are not qualified to talk about marriage. I say rubbish. Some people have myopic understanding about scriptures. Brother Paul in the Bible was not married. But we take all his teachings and marital advice. What experience does Paul have that he wrote on marriage? Wife, be submissive. Does he have a wife that he talk about being submissive? But we take everything.
Exactly.
Your durability in marriage is not as important as your sincerity. You can be 50 years old in marriage and you are pretending and being deceptive. That doesn't make you a marriage scholar. Some men of God, I'm not against, I'm not taking a sweep on people who have stayed long in marriage. Of course, I'm proud. Kudos to you. If God has given you a good wife, that's it. If God has given you a good husband, does it. But taking a sweep on a man of God because he's being true, because he has refused to cover his sin. And some people expect me to be timid and begin to walk and keep quiet. For what? I've dealt with my past. My past is over. I'm on a new course. And I know what the scripture says. But there are too many men of God who are very wicked. It is only in the body of Christ that men of God hit their own. Some men of God have become a spiritual vampire. They eat their own, they suck their own, and they suck too much. Because sometimes when I see a man of God happy over the fall of another man of God, you are paying journalists to destroy another man of God. I get worried. You see spiritual sons lying against their father just to pull their father down. What is your gain If you want to leave a father, take your step and go. Nobody is stopping you from running your own ministry. You don't become great by degrading a great man.
Powerful.
So I get worried when I see people take a sweep. I see so many men of God, even some of them, I know their story. I was just laughing and say, hey, you too, you can comment on this matter. There are too many pretense. Too many pretense. How many children are outside wedlock? I'm not taking a sweep on men of God because I have a story. I'm a general in the body of Christ. And I know what I know, and I know what I am saying. If journalists go out and take a strong investigative journalism on many so-called men of God in Nigeria and etc. all over the world, when you put 100 down, you will only have 10% out of them.
Wow.
Too many ceremonial, pretentious activities.
Wow. Wow. Thanks for your sincerity, sir. Recently, you lost your mom, sir.
Yeah.
What role did she play in your success story, sir?
Wow. Ìyá mi, ìyá ni ìyá máa jẹ́. My mother. I call her my hero. I like using that word because she's a woman like a man. She stood by me. She's the secret behind my education. She is a mother indeed. All my siblings, we had the best mother any son or daughter we ever asked for is Moriamo Lasisi Iginla. She's a mother indeed. In fact, I was so tied to my mother that when I was small, when she's going to the market, I will follow her. She will chase me with cane. You, this boy, go back. I'll say, I will not go back. I will follow you. There was one day in Jos, Plateau State. They were planning to travel to my hometown with my elder sister and brother. And they refused to carry me. They were discussing how they are going to go. And my mother was saying that they will wake up around 4 a.m. and they will leave by first bus that will leave from phase 2 to phase 1. Then from there they will enter vehicle to Gadabu, from Gadabu to Plateau Rider where they will take a vehicle. I pretended as if I did not hear. When they all packed their load and were going, me too, I followed them behind. And when we got to the bus, I entered the boot. And the conductor that was loading the bags, who get this picking? My mother didn't look back. She didn't know that I was. You didn't believe that I'm going to be there. And I was saying, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. She said, who get this picking? He broke in. Who get this picking? Who's the owner of this boy? And when my mother she heard my voice. She said, Ye Kolo. What let me be? And you followed me here. Come here.
Oh my God.
Go back. I said, I'm not going anywhere. I must follow you. That's how my attachment had been with my mother from small. And I am glad Dickness Moriamo Lasisi Disu gave her life to Christ. She enjoyed the goodness of the Lord. I built a house for her. I did a lot of things for her. I took her to Jerusalem. I baptized her in River Jordan. Wow. She made a commitment to the Lord. And she told me in River Jordan, I said, if today the Lord take me home, that was the last wish to come to the Holy Land. I'm so happy. Words are not enough to talk about this angel in a woman form that brought me to this world. She's the vehicle that drove me to this world. I will forever be more respectful to every mother I see out there, whether be it young or old. mothers are mothers,
Yes.
and they are precious. Orishabi Yaosi.
Yes, sir. Let's go back to the City of Wonders. You have a replica of that in South Africa. Do you have a
Yes.
vision of having more of that in other countries?
Yes, in South Africa, we are building something very massive. I'm being careful of talking about what we are building in South Africa because of the envy and jealousy. We are not even trying to show what God is doing. In South Africa, what we have there is very massive. But my take about building a big church, after building what we are doing now in South Africa, I want to go into building industries, starting small scale industries for members and people, and doing a vocational training for people. I think I want to spend much of my time, rather than building big churches, to see how I can become I'm an employer of laborers, but I want to employ more people. I think it's time for the church to start building industries, building more schools, and also making them affordable and, if possible, free for people to come in. And that's my take. We are working on a project a project that has to do with both university, etc. That's going to be very big, that will command attention, and we want to make it affordable. Because the missionaries that brought the gospel to Africa brought it on the platform of gold and made the school free, affordable. But what we are doing right now in the body of Christ, it's somehow, if our schools become too expensive that our members cannot afford, I know in raising a standard, I think we need to think about it very well. If we want to win the world, we must help the world to understand that we are not selfish. The day you die, all the money you have acquired and the rest will be inherited by somebody else.
Sir, briefly, a lot of people are scared of 2023 because there have been calls that there won't be election in 2023. As a man of God, what's God saying about that, sir?
2023. I don't want to make a comment on 2023 because the clouds and the signs are very, very dark, and I'm worried. I pray that the current government of the day treat the cause of this symptom quickly. If not, it will become a monster that we will not be able to control. Thank you.
Interestingly, most people are against men of God having or owning a private jet. What informed your decision to have one, and how many private jets do you have, sir?
These journalists, you are very, very technical with your questions. Having a private jet is not a necessity. I mean, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. And it's not for showmanship. I know what it takes to take the gospel, especially when you are a prophetic evangelist or an apostle or an evangelist. Funny enough, I won't blame a lot of people who take a sweep on men of God who own a private jet, because we are in hard time and the economy is very harsh. And so when people see men of God owning a private jet, they say they have used offering and tithe. The question is, how much is the offering and tithe? For somebody like me, whom God has blessed with so many numerous businesses, and what I get from one of my business alone can be put together even in a month if they put all the tithe and offering for 2 years of the church. I'm not being proud. It can handle it. So for me, when it comes to issue of private jets, I won't say I own one, and I will not want to give the number, but owning more than one is not for show up. The aviation industry is one powerful industry that pulls in money like Like, I'm talking and they say, businessman, I've started again. But the truth of the whole matter is that the aviation industry has a lot of benefits when you go in with a business mind. And for me, owning more than one private jet is about business purpose, and the business purpose is about the kingdom. And so, I leave it at that.
Yeah. So, at a point like this, at such a time like this, rather, during the lockdown and a lot of issues, a lot of ministries and people find it difficult to survive. But I check out your life and your ministry. It's been more or less like the best moment for you in times of expansion, breakthroughs, and manifestations of glory. How did you do it? And what should ministers with struggling ministries, what should they learn from you?
First of all, I used to say this to ministers. If you don't collect tithe and offering for 1 year, can you survive? If you cannot survive, you're a failure in ministry. I'm not trying to take a hard sweep on pastors. Do something outside ministry. Don't allow some fathers to deceive you. You will read their books, you will never see steps that will bring you to prosperity. They can tell you 21 steps to prosperity. They are not true. They will not tell you that they own bakery house, they run estates, they have hotels, 5-star hotels. They won't tell you that they run nursery, primary, secondary, university. They won't tell you that they are shareholders in various banks. They won't tell you that they are into forest trade and own trading houses everywhere. They won't tell you that they do a lot of business that you cannot imagine. So many of them are into the aviation industry and they own a lot. The money they make, there is no Superman anywhere, but there is a super wisdom that can put you in place. You don't pray that money, you bring that money. Common sense are common, but if you don't take advantage of the common sense, you will die a common man. So one of the things I have seen that makes life easy, when you begin to operate in this dimension of understanding that you can't live all your life preaching on the altar, waiting for your children to come and be living by offering and tithe. It's an insult to your capacity. What is wrong with your education that you acquire? You can be a lawyer, open a chamber, and still be a minister. There is no man of God in full time. We are giving God our quality time. Don't let these people deceive you with this message of full time. They are all misconception and babash. You need to understand that we are giving God quality time. What you do with the other time is very important. I've seen people live their life, live their personal life, and tell you that they are going into full time, that the Holy Spirit spoke to them. Sometimes you find out that the Holy Spirit that work with you will not go above your level of capacity and of understanding. Enlarge your scope, think wide, and have a big heart. And hear me, wisdom is the principal thing. Every other thing is vice principal.
Wow, that's powerful, sir.
Thank you.
If you have a moment with Mr. President now, what would be your strongest advice or message to him?
I would tell Mr. President, tackle security. Don't allow the people around you to deceive you. Those crying Hosanna and shouting Hosanna, they're actually digging a pit for you. There is strong civil unrest. People are hungry. People are suffering. A lot of people can't afford their square meal. Tariffs are high on electricity. There's hike in petrol price and diesel. The average masses in Nigeria are suffering. Criminality has increased. Crime has increased because young graduates cannot be duly employed even after spending all their lifetime acquiring education. So as a result of this, they have resorted to become criminals. The ones who are trying their best, who cannot steal, are giving out their body in order to make ends meet. I will look to Mr. President and say, you promised Nigeria to tackle corruption.
Yes.
You promised Nigeria to create employment. You promised Nigeria to run an all-inclusive government. Bring everybody back to the drawing board. Bring the Igbos into your government. Bring the Yorubas into your government. Make it right. This is your last time you will ever, forever be a president. Do it well, so that your name will be written in the gold plate or the gold platform with a gold biro. That everybody will say, you did well, Your Excellency President Muhammad Buhari.
Thank you so much, sir. You've started your birthday celebration with the School of the Ministry for Sons and Daughters of the Prophet. Sadly, most young ministers go after the glory, neglecting the stories behind the glory. As a father, what's your advice to upcoming ministers?
Most upcoming ministers, as you rightly said, they just believe in the glory. They want to fly the private jet. They want to drive the expensive car. They want to be on the big altar. They want to see the crowd. And so they start by being highly competitive with fathers. One, don't fight a father. A father is a father. A son can never give birth to a father, but a father will give birth to a son. Whenever you err or you have a misunderstanding with a father, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be annoyed. It's okay to vent your anger. But after some time, return back to your father and reconcile and move on. There is no amount of achievement you ever make that will intimidate a father. Two, don't pursue gold. If you pursue gold, you will miss God. If you pursue God, you will not miss the gold. Three, humility. Serve with humility. I'm a brother, and God has taken me this far. I put in all my best. Four, improve yourself. Several years ago, I was an undergraduate. I improved myself to get to where I am today. Let anybody talk what they want to say about you, but hear me. You have to be a first believer of your life. 5, correct your errors, dust your debt, clean up yourself, lift up your shoulder, focus on God, and bounce back again if you have fall. It is very, very important. For the younger generation, patience is very important. I will be celebrating 30 years behind the altar or holding this mic. And the Lord has been so awesome with me. And by the special grace of God, I wrote about 30 books to celebrate my 30 years behind the book. I will be dedicating the book this Sunday. And that will make about 100 and something books that God has given me the capacity to write. And these books are fantastic books with deeper revelation that can blow your mind.
Thank you so much. Finally, that's the last question I have on my mind. Because I learned aside the dedication of the auditorium, your birthday is the dedication of the 30 books you've just written. You want to unveil it, 30 books, your 30 years behind the altar. Now, what inspired, where do you get inspiration from to write over 100 books over time?
When you document a thing after you have gone to glory, it will remain as a written legacy that generations to generation. My books are not just deceptive books. They are books that are very practical. Like in one of the books that talks about my marital life and experience and how I was able to bounce back, correcting the errors of life. You need to get that book. is a statement that every soul. I took a sweep on divorce. I took time to make people understand divorce should not be a route that anybody should take. And I also, in that book, explain my experience and what God has used me to do. Interestingly enough, to save a lot of marriages due to the experience, especially taking a sweep at pastor's wife and how to help them to redeem and save their marriage. And to also know that a lot of pastors' wife can be manipulated by third parties. And don't forget, your family and third parties can push you into trouble and at the same time abandon you in the midst of the storm. And to me, that the books I've written, they are inspirations that come from God, and they are not just to make a name that I have. I wrote 30 books and I'm about to unveil them. They are unique revelational experience that is very important. Like one of the book, The Mystery of His Presence. Wow. So unique. Prayer, fire. There are a lot. Wisdom. There are a lot of things. I talk about spiritual fatherhood and sonship. It's another book and God gave me in-depth revelation about. And of course, interestingly, on the 21st, which is on Friday is my birthday. Yes. And I was talking with my wife, mother, and she said to me, my wife, Prophet Estella, my sweetheart, yes. she came to this world on the 21st. And on her birth certificate, the nurse that wrote and filled, they went through the process. You know, there's a way they do it, take it to home affairs to do the process. They wrote 25th. But she actually came to the world on the 21st. So I think to me it's a birthday gift when the mother said, this is it, this is it, and then we were just celebrating. So we're celebrating my birthday and our birthday on the 21st, and of course marking it on our official birthday certificate on the 25th. But to me, it's a double one. There's nothing that can be more interesting like this. There are people who feel that I don't have a right to be happy. They are entitled to their opinion. My own is that please don't take Panadol for my headache. I don't have headache. If you think I have headache, as you can see, the Lord is good and His mercy endureth forever.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, thank you so much, sir. It's been an awesome moment with you, sir. Thanks for your love, thanks for the humility, and I wish you happy birthday in advance, rather. And I wish Mama too, Prophet Stella Iginla, happy birthday in advance.
And I also want to thank you. Sahara Magazine is so wonderful. Your contribution and what you have been doing is so wonderful.
Thank you so much.
You're a young, vibrant man, and you are doing well. For me, thank you for taking the sweep in this interview.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it, sir. Thanks, sir.
God bless you.
Man.
Unmovable, unshakable, unstoppable, unstoppable. Nothing can stop us now. Ooh, yeah. Yes, I'm shining. Hallelujah. Nothing can stop me. Àsìkò mi ló wọlé dé yìí o. Ìràwọ̀ mi ló ń tàn, àsìkò mi ló wọlé dé yìí o, ìràwọ̀ mi ló ń tàn. Ògo mi ló wọlé dé yìí o, ìràwọ̀ mi ló ń tàn. Ògo mi ló wọlé dé yìí o, ìràwọ̀ mi ló ń tàn. Àsìkò mi o. Àsìkò mi ló wọlé dé yìí o, ìràwọ̀ mi ló ló ń tàn, ìràwọ̀ mi ló ń tàn.
Ìràwọ̀ mi ló ń tàn, ìràwọ̀ mi ló ń tàn.
Àsìkò mi ló dé yìí o, ìràwọ̀ mi ló ń tàn.
Àsìkò mi ló dé yìí o, ìràwọ̀ mi ló ń tàn.
Àsìkò mi o, àsìkò mi o, bàbá. Àsìkò mi o, àsìkò mi o, ti dé.
Àsìkò mi o, àsìkò mi o, ti dé.
My time, my Lord.
Àsìkò mi o, àsìkò mi o, ti dé.
My time has come.
Àsìkò mi o, àsìkò mi o, ti dé.
This is my season for me to shine. This is my glory. This is my season for me to fly. This is my glory. This is my season. This is my glory. This is my season. This is my glory.
I will shine. This is my season. I will shine.
This is my day, Lord. I will shine. I will shine.
This is my season.
I'm unstoppable.
I will shine. This is my day.
Yes, I love you, Lord. I'm shining, Lord. I'm shining. I'm shining. Yelebose, yelebo, yelebose. This is my season for me to rise. This is my glory. This is my season for me to glow. This is my glory. This is my season. This is my glory. This is my season. This is my glory. I will shine. I will shine. I will shine.